Welcome to the Stupid Nerdcast. Today we have the same people we always have. That is Raziel something as Zach, and Cleric as Juan, and me, Jordan, as the Nerd Man. Alright, let's go.
Less Michael Bay this time, more like 90s skateboard commercial announcer.
Eventually I'm gonna be doing like that full-on extreme, like that old 90s commercial, like that Go-Gurt commercial or whatever, where they're like, yeah, Go-Gurt on the go, and they're like super extreme skateboarding and shit like that. Yeah, that's the plan. Eventually.
Whatever happened to that aesthetic of things? Like, it just kind of disappeared.
I don't know. Why can't we go back to that?
Then we'll start like having discussions about what our professional wrestling names would have been.
Professional wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what my professional wrestling name would be, because I'd probably be the one that loses every time. They'd call me, so they'd have to call me something like bad, but at the same time still nerdy, but they don't want the nerd to just seem like a loser unless they do, in which case I'll just be like the stupid nerd or something. I don't know.
I was gonna go with like scrawny bitch tits man, but stupid nerd works.
Hang on a sec.
Bad dog.
It's okay. Everything's okay.
So, you guys have been back in the World of Warcraft for a week now. How does it feel?
Feels okay. I mean, when we haven't been doing dungeons, I've pretty much just been questing by myself because you guys have been already unlocked Shadowlands, as compared to me, who only just did it last night, staying up way too late to do so.
But my question is, how did it take you that long?
I don't have all the time in the world like you do.
No. I was at Shadowlands by the end of last weekend. Most of that time I played with you.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I logged off one day. We were both level 40-something. I logged back in. You were level 48, and I was still only level 42. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there, Zach. You tell me.
Between that time and now, you've had more than the amount of time that I was playing between those points when you weren't on.
Well, maybe I was fucking around. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't get a lot of experience.
You definitely were fucking around. But I don't know what you were doing that was fucking around so.
I was doing quests and stuff. I mean, Diana wanted me
You were leveling your alchemy and herbalism, weren't you?
Not really. I mean, I was doing some random quests like that, but I wasn't, like, focusing it.
He was doing pet battles.
You know, that's the main point of the game, you know? Pokemon.
You pay $15 a month to play Pokemon in World of Warcraft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, I think there's more than 150 at this point.
So. I already knew about it, but I still kind of laughed when I got to that quest in Legion when you are the pet.
Oh god.
Still a funny quest.
I didn't get to that.
I don't know why, but I absolutely hated Ardenwald. Or Ardenweald, however you pronounce it.
It's funny, I'm pretty sure Jordan's gonna love it there, because it's like, you know, just the nature place.
Since I'm a tree?
Yes.
That makes
you have
sense.
This strange sexual attraction to trees, so you're just gonna love it there.
Yeah. I'm like that girl from that movie. What was it, Jesus Christ Superstar? Or
no idea.
It's from like the same people that made Strangers with Candy, I think. And there's a girl and she's like making out with a tree at one point.
Might just be called Superstar.
Oh, right. Maybe it
I
is.
think so.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. We could look it up, but I'm not gonna bother.
It doesn't have that big of a case. Also, growing up, I mean, I'm not that tall, right? I'm 6'2". I'm not like a giant. I'm not like 7 foot or anything. But all my friends are, well, most of my friends are shorter than me, and they would always call me a tree. So I guess that's part of where it comes from too. The
I don't know if that has anything
tree
to do with it.
sexual. I mean, them calling me a tree enough, maybe eventually I started finding trees attractive. I wanted something that was like me.
There was that whole part in World of Warcraft where you wanted to make your tree form permanent, and it was a big deal to you.
It was, yes. It still is. I still think I should have permanent tree form, which I do. I do have permanent tree form. It's just not the same.
There has to be like a secret balance reason as to why they hate permanent tree form. Right? Because like it's never like been a thing outside of the inscription.
I mean,
or maybe there was a talent at some point, but like
it's probably because they don't want them to just be the main overpowered healers. Because if they have tree form with the extra healing and the extra defense, then what's the point of being anything else other than like a paladin? Only a paladin would be able to compare because they wouldn't be as squishy.
Because every other healer in the game has way more utility than Druid does.
Yeah,
I guess that's true. Druids do kind of get screwed over without a tree form, don't they? Just slightly. Not like crazy, but just slightly.
Like, raw H per second, like, Druids are pretty up there. Like, I don't think anyone can really compare to them. But, utility, defenses, good cooldowns, shit like that, yeah, everyone else has them beat.
Yeah. Everyone else has some way to stop getting their asses kicked quite as hard. Whereas Druids, we gotta go into bear form or something for a second, but you can't heal while you're in bear form, so sucks to be you.
Yeah, like whenever I'm sitting there just beating a freaking Resto Druid's face in, pretty much I know I have to hang on to my death grip until he does his little dash, and then after that, he's gonna do a little roar, and then after that, he's pretty much screwed because he can't get rid of me.
Yeah, pretty much. That is pretty true. And the second you swap out of, if you have Moonkin form, then you have extra defense in Moonkin, but that's only spell power. If you have Bear form, then you have extra defense in Bear form, and then you can't heal. So, unless you specifically have... Well, if you're a Resto Druid, you can't. I think you can maybe cast Regrowth, and that's it. And Rebirth. But if you're by yourself, that's pointless.
So, I was wondering about Warlocks, Demonology Warlocks. Is there... Like, it feels kind of weird that they are, like, the only spellcaster...
Spellcaster?
The spellcaster? They were one of the... Is it because of Legion? Because of the dagger and the skull? Where they kind of push me towards using a one-handed plus offhand, like, even in Shadowlands. They keep giving me offhand rewards.
You know, I think, don't quote me on this, but it kind of feels this way. I feel like Shadowlands just kind of gives you gear based upon what you are like wielding and using. So it's entirely possible if you just slapped on a staff, you might get better staves to drop. But yeah, because like I played dual wield for the most part, going all the way through Shadowlands. And I would get like a lot of like random one-handers to drop for my DK. And then the moment I switched over to two-hand, a bunch of two-handers started dropping.
Yeah, but are those different specs?
No, both in Frost.
Oh, okay.
So it's either crazy coincidence or probably what you're using does depend. The drops depend on what you're using.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, it's a little too coincidental.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never... Like, back in the day, like, I know I'd probably get, like, a bunch of, like, shields and shit to drop just to spite me because I'm a Death Knight, but, like, I haven't really seen anything that I can't realistically use in some way, shape, or form drop.
Right, okay.
Well, I had a few things. Like, I had, Well, I also mostly mean, like, the crest rewards. where it'll be like, oh, this is a blue offhand, and I'm like, okay, well, so do you want me to still be offhand and main hand sword?
I mean, nowadays they don't really matter. The stats break even no matter what you're using. But
Yeah. Like, I didn't even get a staff that was an upgrade until, I think, where I am now, in Revendreth. It's like the first staff where I was like, oh, I'm going to take this staff over the main hand. And it's also mostly because, like, the middle quests, like, the end quest would give me the option of whatever weapon or offhand I wanted. But, like, because the middle quest would have given me, like, a really good offhand, it's like, well, no, now I have to pick the sword.
Right.
And then, like, the next area is like, oh, here's the good offhand that'll match well with the sword you picked earlier. But yeah, once I hit Revendreth and it started at 60, it finally was like, oh no, here's just a staff. No other weapon can be this. It's just a staff. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's an upgrade because it's like 10 levels higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've also started making the 60 Tailor stuff so that I don't have to actually worry about loot that drops anymore. At least until I start doing like the real dungeons and shit.
Yeah. That'd be a nice little start to get you like into heroics or whatever.
Yeah. Because it's all like, what, 151 gear? So if it gets good stats, that's going to be pretty decent.
Yeah.
Going into Mythic or whatever. Or not a Mythic yet, I don't think, right?
No, Mythic.
I have to do Heroic first, and then Mythic, and then Torghast? Is that the order?
No, so Torghast is kind of just something you do while you're doing other stuff. Like, you'll pop on and do it once a week. That way you can get your Soul Ash to upgrade your Legendary.
Oh, okay.
And then whatever facet of gameplay you decide to focus on is up to you. So if you want to like go balls deep into PvP, go for it. If you want to do Mythic Plus, you can do that. Or you can go into like raiding and see how high you can take that. Okay,
because I was looking at the covenants to see like what people thought were like the best covenants for Demonology Warlock, and they were like, well, at high renown this one, and at lower renown it can be this one. And then I'm like, why would I ever pick the one at lower renown? Because eventually it would fall off.
Yeah. Definitely go for the long game,
right? Cause, like, they're like, if you're like, I guess it's if you're super casual, like you barely play the game, you could pick the low renown one. Or if you're playing only solo and you don't intend to join a group, I guess it's fine. But the other one is like, yeah, so it's like low renown, you pick like Ardenwald, and like their guy is like good at like the start of the game, but it also requires you to like use Drain Life, which I don't like to do. And then the other one is like super late game, it's gonna be Necrolord, and there's nothing Ardenwald has that compares to it.
I can vouch for Necrolords. That shit's pretty dope.
Yeah, and it's also like your burst starts to become insane because their thing is that it buffs Demon Bolt and like doubles its damage. And now that I'm actually got the upgrade to the Tyrant, to where he gives me 5 gems when I spawn him, I like feel like I can switch around some of my talents, which I picked to like, you know, maximize gem use. So I can swap a few of them around, because having him out means that, you know, me using gems in lead up to spawning him is better than like having leftover gems, because I was trying to min-max my use of it.
Yeah, you can pretty much use him as like a resource reset. It's kind of nice.
And he's only like a minute and a half cooldown, so like he's fucking broken.
I definitely noticed they've shied away from like the aggressively long cooldowns. Like, I think the longest cooldown standing is still like a Death Knight's Army of the Undead and like a Paladin's Bubble, their self bubble.
My thing is a long cooldown. My reduces damage by 20% or whatever. That one's still huge.
Oh, Soul Shatter or whatever.
It's I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah,
it's like Inner Demon or something. It just like reduces your damage by a lot, and like reduces crowd control effects, some crowd controls, or like lets you cast without being interrupted, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically what it does, but I do remember that it's like your escape, emergency, don't die mechanic, which everybody has like one.
Yeah, you need at least one.
But yeah, I noticed that some of the legendary stuff, I can like have a legendary, so it'll reduce the cooldown of the demon tyrant on top of that. So once I start getting that stuff,
if you ever want to look at all of them, you can just press like Shift J. You can go and see every single one, and it'll tell you where it drops from too. Good handful of them will just drop straight out of Torghast, but other ones will like drop from like random dungeon bosses or that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also interesting because it feels like it kind of, when I was looking at my stats, was like it kind of probably decided what the professions my alts are probably going to bring up.
Yeah.
Well, like one of them's probably going to be Jewel Crafter, the other one's probably going to be an Inscription. And then they're just going to like make up the difference, because you can sell, like, also the stuff they make can like make so much money on the auction house. Because of just how important some of it is. Jordan, I don't know if you know this yet, but like late game Inscription, they like inscribe the stats for like crafted gear.
Really? Like they can...
So like the plus mastery or the plus versatility or whatever, like they write the part that like gives you that.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Rather than it being random chance, you can actually pick what 2 stats you want.
Well, that's good.
And those sell for like a couple hundred gold each.
Well, that's not actually too bad for that, though.
Yeah, no.
To be a couple hundred gold.
I did look at mounts only because I wanted to see what people were selling, but also where people thought gold was coming from. Because some people charge so much for mounts where I'm like, you could buy 6 years of World of Warcraft with that much gold.
Uh-huh.
And I think in 6 years you'd be able to get that mount.
Probably.
I think the BFA dinosaur that has the auction house on it is like 5 million gold or something, and transferring that into WoW tokens and buying it, it's like $1,000 or some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, they're so... at a certain point, I'm like, I guess maybe those are the people who are buying and selling the tokens on the auction house. They're the people who are blowing real money on gold.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can imagine, that those are the people that are selling stuff for 10,000 gold or 10 million gold.
Well, why would they be? But why would they need to sell for that gold if they're already buying gold in the first place?
Oh, I don't know. I guess that's a good point. I have no idea.
At that point, what do they need the 1 million gold? They're just trying to stimulate, or not stimulate, they're just trying to generate their own economy and just brush everybody out.
Well, it feels like that kind of person is the kind of person who doesn't value their own time.
Right, I guess so.
Right? 10 million gold? Like, because if you can't value your own time, you can't value someone else's time, and 10 million is a ton of money.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
It's a lot of in-game money, and then on top of that, if you converted it into WoW tokens, you could play WoW for like the next 8 years or something without having to pay.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what he's hoping for. Maybe he put it up there so someone will buy it so that he can convert it into 8 years of WoW tokens. No?
I guess it's a solid strategy.
I mean, stupid, because no one's ever going to buy it, but...
Except people.
There's a lot of people with that amount, actually, so...
Yeah.
Well, maybe they got it themselves, though. You don't know that they bought it for 1 million gold.
No, baseline during BFA, it costed 5 million gold to acquire something out.
I see.
But it was BOE.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, I'm just dumb. I get it. I got it. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I didn't hate the Necrolord story. However, I am very. But when I finished Necrolord, I was actually like really annoyed at the Bastion story, because the Bastion story is like, here's this whole bait of what everything that's happening by, and you just fuck off to the Necrolord place.
That sounds like something for me to look forward to.
Unless you actually go like Kyrian and delve into their storyline, they don't really give you a whole lot about it.
Yeah, as compared to the Necrolord stuff, where it's like, it feels like, oh, okay, if I don't want to delve any further, I don't really have to. I know everybody who's here. I know what happened, generally. I participated in enough of this where it's like, oh, okay, if I choose your side, I'll get more of this. But at the same time, I got enough of it where I feel satisfied with where they left me.
Yeah. You at least get to like go into the seat of the Primus and stuff and kind of see what's going on.
Yeah, like they felt so much more tied to the main story than Bastion did. Bastion felt like, we're fucking around doing our own thing, and you're kind of getting a glimpse of what it is. And then you just fuck off and you just go to whatchamacallit? The Necrolord place.
Yeah.
And Ardenweald, you have I don't know, I just hated that zone so much. I don't even know. Maybe it's the colors. Maybe the colors just bug my brain and like make me hate it.
Wear your colorblind glasses.
But yeah, I didn't think about that until I was gone. It also felt like it lasted like really long. And maybe that's because I knew where the story was heading the whole time.
Yeah.
I just can't say anything about it because I haven't been there yet, so I don't know.
Well, I'll let you know. You also, I think you didn't. It might have hit differently if I had played Legion like 4 years ago or whatever. But I played it like literally like what, 72 hours before I got that quest or something.
Right, because you would just power level through it over that weekend.
So it's like every little hint as to who the seed was like so on the nose. Like I knew exactly who it was like from the start, and it's like, okay, what? and like the whole time, it's sort of trying to think. There has to be like an equivalent to this. It has to be. It's one of those things that happens in like RPGs where you know that your character knows who this is, and at no point is any of that addressed.
Right, because your character just goes along with the story and doesn't actually be like, oh yeah, because I don't have my own thoughts.
Yeah, the problem. Okay, so there's a huge problem like with this one. One, you were a key player in the death of this character. You were there at the character's death. You were there when the decision was made to go and fight it. Like everything about what happened at the end of that storyline in Legion puts you in that location. And then in this one, it's like at the start, and it's like, this egg has a connection to you. And it's like, yeah, I wonder what that is. Probably someone I murdered. And then they start to explain like who it is, and like they have a deep connection with nature and stuff. And I'm like, oh wait, I know who this is.
I don't know if I did that storyline, so I don't know if I know who that is.
It's when we were doing Azuna, I think is it, right? No, not Azuna. It's the second area we were doing.
Oh, I didn't finish that area, I don't think.
Yeah. If you finish that area, you kill that character, and then yeah. But that was like the last thing I did in Legion was kill that character.
I see.
And then I went to Shadowlands, and it's like, oh, you're bringing this character back, and I'm like, wow. Again, maybe if this was like 4 years apart, it would be different, and maybe I'd had enough time to have forgotten that character exactly, and that I killed them, and that for some reason I'm not in the final battle that I have to relive with them.
I mean, I literally just, my ending yesterday on Legion, I literally just was in the middle of the unlocking the High Mountain Tauren. So even once I reached 48, I was like, okay, I'm just going to finish unlocking the High Mountain Tauren really quick, because It was like literally maybe an hour after that I unlocked them, so I didn't feel like I wanted to just stop there and then come back later. I felt like I might as well just finish it there.
Yeah, at that point.
Yeah. Which was probably how I would have felt if I stayed in Soldazar and just did the whole their quest line instead. But I'm gonna do that on my Demon Hunter anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it on my maid with Diana when she's playing with me, because that's where she is. On her hunter.
Yeah, that's where my Demon Hunter is. And then, like, when they're done with Soldazar and they unlock the troll, then I'll to use my booster ticket on the troll, just like get a level 50 druid.
You know, I thought about just making a Zandalari troll druid and replacing my regular troll druid that I'm using right now, but I don't know if I actually want to do that. I think I'm actually not going to do that. I might make a Zandalari paladin or something like that.
Hell yeah, the Zandalar Paladins look dope.
Even though I don't really like paladins, but the Zandalari paladin, troll paladin, just... I can't resist that. Trolls are just cool. Trolls are one of my favorite races.
And the best thing about the Zandalari trolls, they're not like hunchbacks.
Yeah.
They're all standing upright.
Well,
like
they can.
People.
I think you can either make them either hunchback or not hunchback. I mean arched back, not hunchback. They don't have a hunch on their back, they're just arched.
Just looks weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm probably gonna have them standing straight up though.
Yeah, do the Zandalari, like, the paladins look really cool?
I mean...
Or do they just wear paladin armor, so at the end of the day I'm not really going to tell outside of the giant tusks or whatever, but...
I mean, their animations and stuff look pretty dope, and just in general, like the way the Zandalari trolls fight. And
okay.
And the
combine
lore.
that fact that you don't have to be a big, slow cow or a tiny elf. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, does it have, I was thinking, do they have their own moonkin form or no?
Yes. It's like this stone-like bird thing. It actually looks
it looks like a moonkin combined with a pterodactyl or something. It kind of looks a little bit like what is it? A little bit like, I'm probably way off, but a little bit like Articuno, except with like two different colors. I don't know. I'm probably making that shit up. It probably doesn't look like Articuno at all.
Like, at a glance, you wouldn't recognize it as a moonkin at all.
Yeah. It looks like a prehistoric moonkin, essentially.
That's cool, because I was probably going to play Balance anyway.
Balance is so busted.
Yeah.
I just kind of find that it kind of sucks with the talents with Druid, because it's like, if you go Restoration or Balance, then the affinity that you have to pick would either probably be the other intelligent using one. So if you're Restoration, you kind of have to use Balance as your affinity, because otherwise you're going to do shit damage in Bear form or Cat form. And then if you're Bear form, that means you kind of have to have Cat form as your affinity, because otherwise you're going to do shit damage in fucking Cat in Moonkin form. Because you don't have the intelligence, because it doesn't carry over the intelligence agility modifier. You know what I mean?
It should all scale with whatever stat is your primary stat for your spec.
I don't know that it does, though, because I did exactly that. I went. What did I do? I was Restoration, and my affinity was Cat form, so I could just do damage in Cat form and then heal myself when I got out of it and stuff like that, like my main thing. But when I was in Cat form, I did shit damage because I had no agility, because it was all still intellect.
The main thing those affinities are like realistically for is to give you more utility. So that's like if you like go to the affinity for the Guardian or whatever, I'm pretty sure it gives you like frenzied regeneration or some crazy nonsense like that.
I think it does. Yeah, that
it's
sounds
supposed
right.
to just give you a little extra cooldown you can use, or a little extra utility, like being able to quickly open out of Cat form from stealth, apply some bleeds, and then jump into like Moonkin form and start blowing people up would kind of be the utility there. Or
I guess
vice versa.
I can see that. Where
Like
it's
if you're
just getting some extra stuff in.
Yeah, like if you're a cat druid and then you decide to affinity into balance, okay, now you have like some ranged poke if someone's running away or you're trying to kite or something, but it's not going to be like your bread and butter. Kind of defeats the purpose of playing that spec.
Right. I'm just still mildly annoyed at the way they respect Feral and Guardian as separate specs. I know I talked about this a million times already. I'm just still annoyed about that.
And I will tell you every time that it's a good thing.
I hate the fact that corruption has a cast time. I just hate it. And I don't want to play Affliction just to get rid of it. Like fucking I don't like the cast time on corruption. I hate it. Every single time I think about it, I hate it. It's like it feels gross. Like it also feels like a waste of my time to cast. Like I feel like I could be casting a Shadow Bolt and building up a Soul Gem, or I can be summoning more imps with the Hand of Gul'dan, or summoning the Fellstalkers, but instead I have to cast Corruption.
Which just doesn't feel like the damage is worth it.
But the problem is that Corruption is worth casting because of like Soul Link and the whatever the other one is, the main one that Soul Link is a passive buff of. Because your direct single target shadow damage gives a shield to both you and your Felguard.
I see.
So because of that, the passive shield tick from having corruption on something will keep your Felguard alive in fights where he would just get like burned down. It's like really frustratingly annoying to actually that's how that works. I hate it.
Right. Okay, I get it.
It's like I hate everything about corruption now. I hate that it feels like I have to cast it. I hate that it has a cast time. Like if it didn't have a cast time, I would be fine with it. Or if Agony was all specs, either one, I would. That's what I would prefer.
Agony.
Like,
But well, you know what the real main curse you need to use is? The Curse of Tongues. That's the only useful one. I don't know why you'd ever need to use any other curse.
This is true.
Exactly.
But to be fair, like the curses serve different purposes. Like tongues increase cast time, which means it drastically lowers in PvE. I'm not talking about PvP because I don't know. Fuck PvP. I don't know what to do with PvP anymore without Agony.
You cast Curse of Tongues on any enemy that will only melee and only has instant cast spells.
Stop.
Never.
Anyway, it's like Curse of Tongues does drastically reduce the DPS of like a caster MP or mob, and weakness drastically reduces the DPS of a melee one, and the slow one is for any fight where we have to like either run away from something or kite it or something.
Oh, you want to get even more upset?
What?
Like the best in slot legendary for like all fucking warlocks right now, it makes it to where corruption just permanently slows targets, so it's even more necessary to cast it.
Jeez.
I hate you. Why can't it just be instant cast? Why can't the level 2 of corruption just be all fucking specs instead of affliction only? Like, it's fine for me to have to cast it until like level 20, but at level 20, give it to everybody. Just let me cast it like normal. It's such an important ability.
What would the real advantage Affliction would get though be if they didn't get instant cast corruption wasn't just them?
What?
I don't know what Affliction warlocks get.
Everything. They have everything. They have what? They have what? Seed of Corruption still, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have Seed of Corruption, they have Instant Cast Corruption, they have Curse of Agony, they have some form of Siphon Life, I'm sure.
The threes comp I keep fucking running into, and it makes me just want to fucking bash my face into the screen, is Affliction Lock, Shadow Priest, Holy Paladin, and it's literally just a game of fucking nutrition. They're just gonna sit there and wait for dampening to build up and just watch your team slowly melt.
So they
It's
just
so
put everything on
annoying.
you, and then the Holy Paladin just keeps them all alive?
Yep.
I
Yep.
see. I mean, I guess that's one way to play the game, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
burn them down as quickly as possible, or die in the time. It's like you have a time limit, essentially.
I don't know. Maybe if
Like
I
someone using
swap
Perish
some of my talents around, Affliction won't feel as needed. I thought about trying to use Doom, and I did use Doom for like a minute, but then like Doom's so like bursty. Like outside of dungeons, it doesn't feel like it's worth using at all. It takes way too long. You should have killed something by the time it would cast. You'd need enough haste for it to like actually speed up, and then blech. I don't know if you can even get enough haste for it to feel like it does its damage in enough time.
I think right now, if you like stack haste on everything, you're only gonna get about 15 to 20%. So
Yeah. That might be enough for... Maybe that's why the Arden Wield spec is probably good, because you can use Drain Life in place of using Corruption, and it'll give him a ton of health.
but then you're, channeling something instead of just casting and then letting it be.
Yeah, I know. I fucking hate it so much.
Well, maybe if Siphon Life, it just had the effects of corruption for that period of time. Yeah, you're channeling it, but you still have. I don't know what I'm saying. Never mind.
Anyway,
just forget everything I said.
It's also like I'm gonna feel much better when I know I like keep this in the back of my mind. When I'm leveling up any of my alts, I'm gonna feel better when they hit Shadowlands, because they'll be able to be like, oh, I'm gonna join whatever covenant, and they can do it instantly instead of like me, where I have to grind through the main quest line to do it.
Yeah, that part was definitely a little tedious, but
an alt, if you've already like grinded through the main quest line and joined a covenant, your alt can automatically join a covenant by starting Shadowlands.
Really? Well,
So you get like your covenant ability right away instead of fucking around with all the different ones and practicing them and shit.
That'll be nice.
It is nice.
So I won't have to do like the whole Bastion quest line and the whole
Yeah, you can do them.
Line.
I think you can do them in whatever order you want if as an alt.
I see. So you can do all of them still, or none of them.
And you're just trying to get to 60, and then you do your 60 shit.
I see. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's also maybe because I'm not able to actually be like my covenant yet. Because when I was in the Necrolord place, I almost never casted Corruption because it felt such a waste of time.
Such a waste of time.
It really did. Like both in both there and in Bastion, I think both of them had a better spell that I used in place of Corruption. But Kyrian is apparently like the worst possible covenant for Demonology Warlocks, so fuck them.
Why are they the worst? What is their thing that makes them the worst?
I think it's just everybody else is so much better.
Oh. Yeah.
What is that, like Ardenweald, because of like its mobility, it makes it like actually really good in like any raid fight where you have to move around. And then like, but because of how late game Necrolord works, it's just like, well, fuck it. This one's flat out better than everything else, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do have a question, because I haven't, got to the end of the storyline to be able to choose a covenant yet. When I choose like the person that I have for my thing, like can I swap that person out like all the time, or am I stuck with them for a while?
So essentially, once you pick your covenant, you're pretty much locked into that. I mean, you can change it anytime, but every time you change, it'll reset like all your progress to that covenant. So it's kind of tedious to change. But your soul bind that you do with the little soul thingamajig, I forget the name of it, you can swap that out at any given time anywhere in the world just by pulling up your little covenants tab, and then you can just literally go through it and change them. So like I have one soul bind that's set up for like just my frost kind of build, and then I have another one that's set up like to boost my blood stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, because they're talking about. Because I had to read so much just to learn what was good. But like they were talking about like some soulbinds, like you want ones that buff Hand of Gul'dan because that is like your core ability, and like your Felguard. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I was wondering like which of the three people or whatever was worth picking, because there's like this guy's good like early, but this guy's the one you want late.
Realistically, it doesn't matter too much until you like unlock their capstones. Then you might want to actually like sit down and think about it, because you're going Maldraxxus, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, because they said what's his name, like the bone guy. If you get his capstone, he's the best, like flat out, the bone smith or whatever he is.
Makes me wonder if his stuff is the same. Is his first ability for you like the one where like if you die you can keep going for 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it's all the same.
Yeah, they just said like his capstone, like once you get his capstone, like he's just flat out the best.
Which
for like
capstone
Nemo.
we're talking about? 'Cause he has 3 different ones.
The one, I think it's the one all the way to the left, whatever the one that one is.
The one that boosts your movement speed whenever you like hit somebody low health.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that one's nice.
I think that also kind of makes up for you not picking Arden Wield, because you pick Arden Wield for its movement.
Yeah.
Is that the
He's
only
like,
reason to pick Arden Wield, just for its movement?
No, that's the reason a Warlock picks Arden Wield.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, all the powers and stuff vary pretty drastically for each class. Not so much the soulbind powers, but like the fuck.
The fuck? Okay, yeah, the fucks do tend to vary from, person to person. Sometimes some people like it a certain way, some people like it another way.
This is true, but essentially each soulbind has like predetermined abilities that are going to be there no matter what class you are, and they're like little blank nodes in between each one where you can actually slot powers that you find out in the world. So some of these soulbinds will have more nodes that you want, like maybe you want a bunch of offensive nodes, or maybe more defensives or more utilities. So it's kind of like a lot you have to kind of weigh in to figure out just what kind of fits your playstyle the best and what kind of fits whatever content you're doing the best. So like the one he's talking about with the Bonesmith guy, like that ability to keep fighting past death is freaking amazing in random battlegrounds.
Right.
Because like I can just sit on a point after I die and make sure no one can take the flag.
Right.
But in arena it's kind of hit and miss. I think I've like maybe clutched like maybe 1 or 2 kills with it, and more often than not I just kind of feel like, well, I'm dead. Like that's pretty much it. Whereas the other one is like, okay, I can get a 40% health shield that makes me immune to CC like every 2 minutes.
I see.
So, yeah. So, differing strengths and weaknesses to each little soulbind. You just kind of pick whatever one best suits you for whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think there's also because I think one of the nodes or the blank slots that you want to slot in is there's one for Dreadstalkers that make it like they do like way more damage or something, and it like combos really well if you have the one that like buffs your damage or like allows them to attack in an AoE.
Ooh.
And they're like, this one's like super good. And I think the reason why Arden Wield is good for like sometimes is because I think you always have like a slot where you can fit that one in, whereas I don't think like the Bonesmith you always have that slot because you might have better things that you need.
Yeah.
But overall there's like 2 that they basically always want you to have as Demonology, which is the one that buffs Hand of Gul'dan and then the one that buffs your Felguard, and then like the other ones are interchangeable.
And definitely a lot of like those conduit powers, they're not all built equally. You'll find some that are like, holy shit, this is great, and there's other ones that are just fucking awful. Like there's one that'll boost my freaking my little Winter's Fury ability or whatever by like 30% damage after it stacks up. Or there's another one where it's like, oh, your Death Strike heals 1% more health. It's like, What?
That 1% more health is invaluable, Juan. You underestimate it. I'm just saying. What if it only healed you to 99% health and you had something that needed to be at 100% health? Maybe you're like Link and when you have full hearts, you shoot out a laser from your sword. You don't know, and you just needed that 1% extra health to be able to shoot that laser from your sword. Are you willing to give that up? I'm just saying.
Or there's a warrior one that has Mortal Strike. It gives it a chance to hit twice every time you cast it. Like, that's fucking bonkers.
Yeah, like or it could be one of those things like was it Smite that had it, where it'd be like level 1 does 5%, level 2 does 37%. And you're just like, well, fuck off. I'm gonna go straight to level 2.
What's the point of it just picking up just level 1 at that point?
Well, because it's cheaper. It's like so. And like by the time you pick level 2, it's like such an investment in the item that maybe you didn't want to have made it anyway.
I see.
But yeah, like some scaling like that always happens in some games. So I'm always curious, like when somebody's like, "Well, goes up by 1%." I'm like, well, what does level 2 do? Does it do 2%, or does it not?
I mean, yeah, that is a good point when it goes up so little in the level 1, so you don't even really know. You don't have a base, a real base. I mean.
Yeah, speaking of major buffs, for some reason, I was playing Warframe the other day, and I decided no, not for some reason that I was playing Warframe the other day. Some reason, the thing that I am about to talk about. They decided that the Umbral mods were not strong enough and made one of them much stronger.
Huh.
I literally have like 177 ability strength, and I literally only have Umbral Intensify and the other 2 Umbral parts on.
Jesus Christ.
Like, normal Intensify does 30% damage. Umbral Intensify with a full mod set now does over 70.
Huh.
It's just baloney. Like, you just have so much HP, armor, and damage now. It's so gross.
I mean, I get it. Like, Umbra mods are a huge investment, unless you've been like, grinding out the whole like season thing and getting the Umbral polarity. But yeah, that seems a bit much.
But it does, especially on like fucking Nova, who I use all the time. I was like, 70% damage? I have like 3 other damage mods. I guess I can replace them with something else, or just leave her at 250% damage.
Yeah, with a nice chunk of health and armor too.
Yeah. Like, Nova has to be one of those weird frames, because it's like, you feel like she maybe should be a shield frame, and then you give her the shield mod, and she goes up from like 150 to like 200 shield.
And you're like, oh, no, not at all. You're not a shield frame.
Yeah, what the fuck?
No,
She's so weird.
You have the Null Star thing, you got that 99% damage reduction as long as you got balls in your face. Like, yeah.
And then you can take the augment where every time you kill somebody with antimatter drop, it gives you another Null Star. Fuck off.
So you pretty much never run out of balls.
She's fucking gross.
That does sound pretty gross, never running out of balls. Always having balls in your face.
I remember when I first started playing Warframe, and they had like a stamina bar, and all your abilities had to be slotted into your mod frame, your mod grid to actually work. That was old Warframe. Fuck.
Yeah, I started playing initially when stamina was still a thing. And then, like, a month after I was playing it, like, they're like, okay, stamina's been removed. I was like, oh, shit, really?
Yeah. And back then, it used to be, like, you had 4 revives per day.
Oh, my God. That shit was so annoying.
I was like, I can't play this game. There's a reason I don't own Excalibur Prime, and it is that. Because I couldn't trust in the game that only gave me 4 lives per day.
Especially with, like, half the time when you die, it's just a complete bullshit. Like,
yeah. And that was before like the game was as easy to understand. Well, I mean, it's still hard to understand, but like it was much more obtuse back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was so easy to be in the wrong zone and not have the right mods and be able to play the game at all and just fucking die for no reason because you just went into a mission thinking you could do it only to find out you can't.
Right.
And it's like, oh, I guess I can't play anymore today because I died once.
Unless you want to pay them real money.
Yeah. I was so glad when they took that out. That's like when I came back was when they took that out, and I read that in the patch notes, and I was like, oh, I'll maybe try this game again. Oh, remember when it used to animate your wall run instead of you doing the weird hop thing?
Yeah. Very awkward animation.
They're like, we want to bring it back, but like it's such a weird thing for them to do now because it used to be like Jordan knows this. If you walk around like any of the older maps, there's like these streaks on the walls of where you used to be able to. That was your old like wall run arc, just like basically every game with wall run.
I mean, oh yeah, like you mean like how they looked in like Prince of Persia and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or like what's the new one? The Jedi one? They'll have like wall streaks on that one too. The new Jedi game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Fallen Order or whatever.
Yeah. So that Warframe, all the old tiles have that wall streak of that used to be your arc. And like the reason they're not really sure about whether or not to bring the wall run back is because the current wall run
you can just do
is
anywhere.
the mechanic of how it would work. So you would just keep running along that wall. You wouldn't have an arc anymore. You just keep running in a straight line, and they thought that would just look ridiculous.
It'd be kind of funny though.
And I'm like, it would look ridiculous, but right now we just kind of bob around and hop off the walls, so whatever.
Something ridiculous for something else ridiculous. Maybe they'll make it so you can choose. Just a cosmetic thing.
The main reason I was playing again recently was A, because the new their new season pass thing started, and I want to get the Umbral mods at the end, or the Umbral former at the end. Which, you know, on the one hand, it's a season pass, but on the other hand, you don't buy it and you can't earn levels with real money.
Yeah, no, you just gotta play the game.
Yeah, there's like, play the game and you'll get it. And I'm like, okay. And like anything you don't finish can carry over to the next week if you finish the next week off. Which is like...
Yeah, that was nice.
So it means like you literally jump in at the end, and as long as you could do everything, you could literally grind it out in like the last week.
Yeah, just do like a whole month or two full work. And
Yeah. Yeah, like what's it? You have to hunt. You probably have to hunt the fucking Hydralisk or whatever like 15 times. But oh fuck that guy! I hate him. I hate that he's just. I just hate that he does so much damage to the fucking lures. I think that's the only part of the fight that I hate.
I hate the fact that you have to run around the entire fucking world just to find 3 lures just to wake it up. Just to fight it.
That part's not that hard, and you being there made it so we could actually do it like in a night with no problem.
I just find it annoying. I don't know.
I know you were annoyed by it, but like if you weren't there, you didn't do it like experience it like when I tried to do it solo. You experienced it with you there, keeping the lures alive the whole time, so I didn't have to worry about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't have someone like dedicated Vazarin keeping those lures alive, like it's fucking awful.
Even in games where healers aren't a main thing, I'm still a healer.
Well, Vazarin is so good in that mode, is the problem, in that hunt. It makes the hunt like soloable, whereas any other spec you basically are not.
Yeah, I remember I'd pug that shit, and like if I basically wasn't playing Oberon or fucking Trinity, like they would just die constantly. It's like, alright, well, I guess my hands are tied.
Yeah, it would just when I did it, I just played Chroma and just kept spamming out the fucking pizzas.
No, yeah, it's one way to do it.
Yeah, there's these discs you throw on the floor and they spam out energy or health for people.
Oh yeah, you use those on me.
Mm-hmm. basically, I would just do that, and then I'd hope that somebody else had the lures and was just keeping them alive, so that I could just pop the joints as soon as the shield dropped. And I did that like a couple times a night. I would do that with pubs because I could pop the lures fast enough if we could burn the shield down fast enough for it to not kill the lures.
That's why I really liked taking Oberon into it after he got his rework, because like you can give everybody a radiation damage buff, which they're weak to, and then during their whole little stupid explosion thing, as long as people are standing on your hollowed ground, like they're immune to the friggin' mag proc. Just really good support frame.
Yeah, I like that they used to be, because you were outside your warframe, the mag proc would not happen. But then they were like, no, the mag proc still happens on your warframe whether or not you're inside it. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah, bullshit.
Like, you guys, why do you hate my cheese?
You guys.
And then Jordan's actual favorite part of the game, the other day, got buffed, like, dramatically.
Fishing?
What is that?
The railjack.
Oh, I actually do like the railjack.
Yeah, I think railjack is actually like really good. It's just like it has so many problems that I wish weren't there.
Yeah.
And now they just eliminated half of them. Like so, now damage, like almost all the stats of like how the railjack kind of functions is based on your personal stats instead of the ship stats.
Huh.
So now you can bring personal crit onto someone else's ship, and you will have that crit rate instead of what their crit rate was.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, like, when you were, like, if I actually had my own railjack, if you came on my railjack and took the gunner, then you'd be doing a lot of damage despite the fact that I'd have a shitty gun.
Yeah, like I would have like higher crit, or I'd have higher turret damage, or when I jumped on the artillery gun, I would do double damage because I have that mod maxed out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's much better because it opens the door for you to also like be able to mod for railjack before you get your railjack. Because you get that part that you get to customize and put mods into unlocks when you complete your first Arcwing, not when you complete the railjack.
I see.
I never got to try the new railjack, because right as it came out was about the time I was hitting like the fucking burnout in that game. So as soon as like, oh, railjack's out, I'm like, cool, what do I need to do? They're like, oh, go grind millions of these fucking resources and wait a day in between upgrades. I was like, I'm done. Fuck this.
Yeah, that there again is parts of railjack that kind of ruin it. The grind for railjack, which, I mean, to be fair, in a couple months they like cut in half to like once they figure. The problem is there's so much math in Warframe, right? There's so much math that every time they have to change like a big number, like the number of mats that are required to build your railjack, they have to like put it through like all these calculations of trying to figure out what's a balanced number, and they don't want to just like, oh, let's just cut it in half, because that could just be like, oh, now it's unbalanced. Now everybody has a railjack as soon as they get a dojo or something, and then like, and then it's like, well, now it doesn't feel earned anymore, and like so they always have to like weigh all that shit, which is why it always takes a while for them to decide how to rebalance stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. But usually within a couple months, they do usually heavy nerf like requirements for shit. Like all the time. They do it all the fucking time.
Yeah. Makes sense. Like you don't want to just keep the grind going on for no fucking reason that no one's doing it anymore, or if like everyone already kinda has it.
Yeah, so yeah, they like cut the resources for the railjack itself in half. They cut out a bunch of resources. I think there's like the most recent patch, there was like 3 railjack resources they just don't use anymore. They just don't exist for the game.
I know, like, the annoying one I had to get was like, oh, you have to get this from killing Eximus units on this particular like tile set in this particular fucking planet.
Well, you know, those ones are actually like the easiest because you just sit on that planet and kill Eximus forever. But
Yeah, man, but
the only time it was like really easy was when you got the Swordy Eximus like onslaught or whatever it is.
right.
And it was on that planet, and you were lucky enough, and then you went there, and then you just fucking like get hundreds of it instantly. The Xmas ones, I didn't find those that bad, but I really was really annoyed about the ones that you'd go to Earth and mine. I was like, I hate this. I hate every second of this. I hate mining this. I hate that there's nowhere else this drops.
I had already done like a fuckload of mining because I really wanted a Zaw. So I'm like, all right, this is fine. But
Yeah.
man, I'd already spent so many hours in fucking defense waiting for like just leveling gear and shit. I was like, I don't want to keep doing this.
Yeah, sometimes you like the problem with leveling gear is like having how many friends you have that are high level, right?
Right.
If you have 3 friends who are all like not leveling gear and basically wiping the whole area for you, your level will spike. Like by the time you get to like wave 10 on the defense, you're maxed on like everything you brought. Because like 4 people means the maximum amount of mobs spawn. If the maximum amount of mobs are killed and they're all right next to you, like when they die, or like if all your allies are right next to you when they kill the mobs, you're just like your XP will just start exploding. I've seen people without like affinity modifiers get like everything maxed by, like I said, wave 10. But at the same time, like if you're doing it by yourself or you're trying to do it with pubs, like every time you're the top damage in a pub means you probably got the least experience. Because of how their fucking damage calculations are so borked. Or experience calculations are borked. Like, if... It's so stupid. Like, I was trying to explain to Jordan. I'm like, if you're standing next to me and I kill something, you get 100% of the experience, where 50% goes to your Warframe and the remaining 50% is divided among your 3 equipment. If you kill something, 50% goes to your Warframe and 50% goes to the weapon you killed it with. So it's much better and much more flow of you just like maxing shit out if I kill everything.
Yeah, you did explain that to me. I do remember that. But that also like eliminates any fun of that person really having the game because they don't really want to kill anybody.
That's true too, because like it sort of limits how much experience you can even get. But you're lucky I didn't even play Nova and just wipe the entire map from that one spot, and you never actually get to do anything.
I mean, maybe that would have been better because I would have just maxed everything out.
Or what's the other one? Banshee. You just press 4 and you just sit there and watch your experience shoot through the roof.
Yeah, fucking Sarens. Shit would like just melt before it even gets to you.
Yeah. Anyway, so besides that, they removed like a bunch of resources. The one that you farmed on Earth is gone. A few of the other ones are gone too. Like you can, I don't think you can collect them anymore, and you don't use them for anything at all. Is what they mean. Like they're still in your inventory, but you don't collect them and you don't use them. Currently, they've also moved all of Oberon and Ash into Railjack. So now all their pieces are in Railjack. None of them are on the map anymore.
Oh.
Which, I mean, once you have your Archwing, you can just open party into Railjack, so it's not the end of the world, but I guess they were trying to shove people more towards, like, this is where Railjack is. They've also, now, I think this is the first time they've done this, made 2 Prime Warframes permanent.
Really? Which 2?
Mm-hmm. Valkyr and Nyx.
Those are some random picks right there.
Yes, but both of them have ties to, I think, the Corpus, and the Corpus was the one they just released.
Okay.
Well, Nyx kind of does, but not really. Valkyr definitely does.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like talking about it like makes me want to like play it again a little bit, but like all my progress was on my fucking Xbox. So
Yeah.
all over, and I'd rather.
Yeah, because they don't
There's
have
no-
any form of like cross progression. I think right now.
Nope.
That's what I was about
Yeah,
to ask.
it sucks. It sucks for people who want to come back to PC because playing it on PC is so much better. Like just the ability to split your sprint and your roll is huge. Because like characters like Ivara become way better because her stealth breaks if she sprints, but it doesn't if she rolls. But yeah, like and PC, like the aiming is just so much smoother on a mouse, and fuck, that game's so good. Anyway, and then it's like there's some parts of it that just like make you not want to play it.
Like when I think about sitting in a defense mission for hours on end, I'm like, yeah, no.
Oh yeah, and also to like get people into Arcwing and Railjack so much faster, they decreased the crafting time for the Arcwing tremendously. It used to be, I think, 30 minutes for each piece and an hour or something for the final piece. Just fuck off. An hour and a half for Arcwing. And if it's the way, I don't know if they changed it, but originally you had to craft each piece before the mission would continue.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true anymore. That might have been changed.
Pretty sure back in the day, like it took a full day to craft each piece, and the quest wouldn't continue.
Yeah.
Final Arcwing took fucking 3 days.
Yeah. So when they changed it to 30 minutes, that was already like huge. That's a huge decrease.
Hell yeah.
But now each piece takes 1 minute, and the final Arcwing takes 10.
That's not bad at all.
Which is like, yeah, you can now finish your Arcwing in like 20 minutes of play. You don't even have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to.
Rather than a full week of waiting. Like 10 minutes of play, but a week of waiting.
Yeah. Because the most it can take you is going to be like 20 minutes or something if you do like a mission in between, have to do a mission in between each time you craft one. But I don't remember if you do now anymore, if you can get all three and craft them all simultaneously. Because if that's true, then it should take you maybe 15 minutes. Which is so much better. So much cleaner. And they just introduced what is it? The command thing for the Railjacks. You can have NPCs on there that'll actually help you out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you're not just by yourself defending your ship every time you get hijacked?
Yeah. So I bought like 3 people with like 5s in stats. 5 is the highest you can have them to have in a stat. And then like I don't know, it's a weird distribution. There seems to be levels to them, but I can't really tell what they are. But if you max the command tree, you get 3 extra levels that you can give to someone or to each person. So I was able to find one with like 5 in each of the stats that I wanted. I found like a 5 pilot, a 5 gunner, and a 5 defender. And I just like have the 3 of them and I put them on. And so like the defender has my stupid Kuva rocket launcher, so she literally can one-shot anything that comes on board the ship. Is that rocket launcher is so fucking OP. Like, oh my god. There's been so many missions. Oh, and they added the Corpus ships, but in addition to adding the Corpus ships, they added one of the events, which was called Orphix, where the Sentients would attack a Corpus ship, and then you'd have to like drive them off. But now when you do this, it gives you a arcane, and I believe the arcane is based on the level of difficulty that the original mission is that you pick. So if it's Venus, it'll be like a low-level arcane, like being the main Eidolon. If it's like Pluto, I think is the next one, it'll be like an intermediary one. And if it's the Veil, it'll be the fucking super ones from the fucking Hydralist. And first off, I farmed some of those arcanes. They take like a third the amount of time that it takes for you to kill a fucking Hydralist.
Now, is that because of power creep or a health nerf?
Oh no, it's because of they don't walk around. You just walk in and shoot them with guns. No, because you gotta use your Necromech, and the Necromech is borked. I don't know if you left right around Railjack. You probably haven't used the Necromech, right?
No, haven't.
Okay, so the Necromech has some arithmetic problems. In that it has like 120% crit rate with like a crit Arcwing mod. Does like 10,000 damage, and with the crit Arcwing upgrade does like 8 times or something that damage. So it like does 4 million damage every time it hits something, and if you like red crit, it boosts it up to like 8 billion.
Fair and balanced gameplay.
Yeah, so every time that thing spawns, it's like you have to hunt down these little like glowy red things, and you blow them up, and then it opens up so you can actually damage it. So you instantly damage it to where it's forced to spawn the red things again that you have to break. So it has 2 cycles where it opens, and anytime it's open, it's basically just instantly dead. And they were introduced during an event. The sentients that you had to fight, and you have to fight them in your Necromech. You have like no choice. It turns your Warframe off when you step close to them, and they're just like so fucking easy to kill in this version versus the event. In the event, the sentient control timer built up way faster. Whereas now you can kind of get to a point where you're camping one and just killing it over and over again, and it'll keep it near 0 sentient control, which is when you lose the mission and have to leave. But yeah, and the arcane drops after you kill 12, and there's 36 total, so the most you can get in a single mission is 3 arcanes. But that arcane will be determined by the mission level, which means you can get in the amount of time it would take you to kill like 1 Hydralist, you can get 3 arcanes from the Hydralist tier by doing that.
Yeah, sounds a lot better.
Yeah, it's a much better way of getting arcanes. Only because without like a 4-man group who's actually like not a fucking pub group, getting those arcanes from a Hydralist is a pain in the butt. Yeah, if we had like 2 more people to like just pump out damage onto the fucking Hydralist shield, it would die in a second. The problem is that shield takes so long to bring down when like you just don't have a good group. Little pub groups don't manage to bring good damage.
Yeah. Remember, you'd load in if I can go fight the freaking Hydralist or whatever on the Plains of Eidolon, and like there'd be one guy that actually upgraded his little operator arm cannon, and the rest all have like just the basic like little energy beam, not even like the amplifier on it yet.
Yeah, and you'd be lucky if somebody was fucking what is it, Unaru or whatever, so that they're buffing everybody's damage to their beams, or I fucking had one guy who was still fucking hadn't completed fucking War Within. He came there with just fucking trying to do it with Second Dream Operator. I was like, go home. Don't do this. Don't do this to me. Why are you here? I'm sorry that's a bit rude, but like, I wish there was like an explanation here that said you should complete War Within before you should queue for this. Yeah, they're so hard to kill if like 2 of your teammates are just dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to like pump out good damage on them. And the other one, like if you don't unlock Naramin, the Naramin passive that makes your operator faster. Fuck. God, they're so hard to keep up with without that.
And then even grinding out the experience just to upgrade those different paths, like, Jesus.
Yeah, but the Sanctuary Onslaught you can do it like super fast. They have to queue into Sanctuary Onslaught, kill everything really fast, and then fucking have a good frame that gets you good focus, like Ember, Nova, Saren.
All right. I think
That's probably
that's a pretty good time to cut it off. Zach, tell them where they can find you behind door number 1.
Okay, you can find me over at raziosomething.com. I maybe I'll start writing again soon. I don't know. You can also find me at raziosomething on Facebook and Twitter. If you do go from this to reading any of my stuff, you should subscribe to that website because it tells me if you do, and you should comment and like it because that increases people's interactivity and makes people want to visit it more. Also, I write stuff and I think it's good, so you should go read it.
All right, Juan. Tell them what they've won.
Disappointment.
Okay. Alrighty. Remember to like and subscribe the video and follow our Twitter account and check us out live on Saturdays when we record, usually on around like 1 and 2, but sometimes a little later like today. Twitch.tv/StupidNerdman. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.